We are honored to have with us Ambassador George Talbot, permanent representative of Guyana to the United Nations, who was elected chairman of the Second Committee of the 67th session of the UN General Assembly. Ambassador, congratulations. Having known you and admired your leadership for quite some time, I am personally delighted to know that you will be leading and guiding the discussions at this session of the General Assembly. Ambassador, let me begin by asking about the follow-up to Rio+20. This session of the General Assembly will be crucial to begin the implementation of the decisions of Rio+20 and keep the momentum and the spirit of Rio. What do you envision to be the key areas where the attention of delegations and other stakeholders will concentrate on?
Well, thank you very much, Patricia. I once had the honor to serve under your own chairmanship of the G77, which was a sort of schooling for me in my early days at the UN. Coming to your question, I think the delegations will focus in a major way on the major processes identified in the outcome document. I think the Sustainable Development Goals process is one that will, I think, attract enormous attention by delegations, because it speaks to the kind of paradigm, the kind of framework that will be in place as the MDG cycle comes to an end. A lot will focus also on the question of finance, which has been one of the key shortcomings, I would say, of the processes that have gone on before. We have managed to agree on many major outcomes, but the implementation deficit has been a continuing challenge. So I think finance, and how to finance the outcome of Rio will be an important focus of attention. For me also, personally, I think the question of food security, I think should be one of those issues on the front burner. I suspect that it will also find expression in some of the processes related to Sustainable Development Goals, related to the post-2015 framework. But I think there's also an imperative to act with greater urgency, because as the data indicates, there are more than 1 billion people who are right now without food on a daily basis, and they can't wait until we develop all the goals and the indicators in a post-2015 framework. They need action right now. So how the international community responds to that challenge will be very critical. Indications are that food prices, for example, are again on the rise. We've seen very major droughts in crop-producing areas in the US and other countries. And so the food security challenge is front and center, I think, and one of the urgent tasks in the implementation of Rio+20.
There are high expectations for the Second Committee to reach significant decisions by the end of this year and well into next year. Are there ways in which the committee could be enhanced to facilitate agreements?
The committee, in my view, and this applies to several of the committees of the General Assembly, provide an opportunity for focused debate, consideration of key questions on the UN agenda. And I think one of the areas in which we can focus is to try to raise the level of participation in the work of the committee. I think, for example, there's nothing that precludes the possibility of ministerial level discussion on one or other of the themes of the Second Committee, which I think would help to give some visibility, raise the profile of the discussion, and perhaps impact on the outcome in a more enduring kind of way. I think, of course, there are ways and means in which delegations can collaborate more closely in coming to closure on some of the issues. There are a number of, I would say, housekeeping matters that can help us meeting deadlines in terms of the submission of proposals, the opportunity of greater use of expert input in some of the work of the committee. I know by definition every person who is not an ambassador at the UN is an expert. But also I think we can benefit from the experience of those who are on a daily basis working on some of the issues in the field that we concentrate on in the debates and the negotiations of the committee. So the question of visibility, the question of expert input into the work of the committee, I think are some of the ways in which we can improve on the delivery of our mandate.
The World Summit on Sustainable Development greatly advanced the use of partnerships to facilitate the implementation of sustainable development. We were very pleased to see several references of partnerships in key areas of the Rio+20 outcome. How could partnerships be better positioned to serve as an effective mechanism for the implementation of the Rio+20 outcome?
Well, thank you very much. The question of partnerships, I think, has been in the Rio process from its very beginning. So it's very encouraging to see that initial element, which was, I guess, novel at the original Rio conference, has assumed greater importance coming through Johannesburg. The partnerships have been an important vehicle for advocacy in agenda setting, I mean, bringing issues to the fore, but I think there's possibility for it to be used more on the question of implementation, where the gatherings at the global level, they can be decentralized in some respects at the field level, at the regional level, at the national level, where the opportunity of bringing different actors together, I think, can help to advance implementation, because this agenda is much bigger than any one government, than any one actor. And the question of coherence is also important, because as we work together, we think we can iron out some of the challenges that our disparate actions can themselves generate. So I see a lot of promise in terms of the development of partnerships in implementation of Rio. There is a lot of goodwill, there is a lot of interest on the part of well-meaning actors, whether they be institutions, whether they be individuals, whether they be foundations, for example, that can work together with governments and that can bring expertise, that can bring resources, and that can bring experiences to help to advance and address the problems in a very real way, very meaningful way.
This session of the General Assembly is expected to be very intense and challenging. How are you preparing, Ambassador, for the tasks ahead?
Well, consultation, thinking through some of the issues. I will be seeking the advice of colleagues, those who have served in this capacity in the past, those who have worked on these issues in the committees, in various capacities. I rely on the Bureau members, their advice, their experience, their expertise. And I will do as much reading and preparation and thinking that I can in order to be in step with the demands of the committee.
Ambassador Talbot, deeply grateful for your time today, and sincere congratulations once again on your election.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having this opportunity to exchange on some of the important issues on our agenda.